What is happening, YouTube? It's your boy GuardianofLight back again. Okay, what I'm going to be talking to you about today, folks, is deities and entities. But I'm going to try and keep it short for you so I don't actually bore the shit out of you. I'm also going to be explaining to you the reason why people choose these deities or entities to work with as a spiritual path. But I'm going to keep it in brief. Okay. Number one is Freya. Now, without me realizing this, I did work with this deity um, a few years ago. I'm not going to spoil too much because I'm going to be covering that in a later video about my spiritual path. But I didn't realize it was her to start off with until, say, about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a bit longer. But yeah, to look at Freya in the spiritual form or celestial form, she is really beautiful. She's also kind. She's patient, but at the same time, she can be a bit stern as well. So, yeah, with some people, it's like chalk and cheese. We all know that one girl that's got a little bit of sass or a little bit of fire. It's Freya, but not all the time. Freya is associated with love, sex, beauty, and fertility, as well as gold, etc. Now, to work with Freya is really awesome because you get back to basics and you connect with Mother Earth, as well as you respect the small things in life instead of just looking at everything in mass scale. For me personally, yeah, I know that Freya is awesome. So if you're someone who's starting out, me personally, just give Freya a little heads up. Okay, and number two is Odin. Now, I haven't worked with Odin personally, but I've known people that have. It's different for each individual. Some people who may like the idea of Odin will wear a necklace or a symbol and will be, I want to have a good time with my friends, I want to drink mead, I want to listen to music, I just basically want to party. Then there's the other ones that go a bit more into depth, that do actually speak to the deity. Now, what he's associated with is war, wisdom, magic, and shamanism, good luck, and fortune. A lot of people have described him as either that he's an old man, it's like dressed in a robe and with a staff, a little bit like Merlin, kind of, like image wise. And then other people have depicted him as like some like big butch dude who's just going around basically killing anyone that tells him no. Um, Again, it depends on your perception of deities, as well as the person that you are and what you feel comfortable with. But if you're someone that wants to work with Odin, go for it. So is any deity. Number three. Number three is Satan. Yeah, we all know who that is, right? We all know that he's associated with being the adversary and the devil and so on and so forth and oogie boogie. What else he's known for is for being distant. Now, for me, distance can mean that you want to be distant from someone because you have a valid reason. Now, no, I don't think anyone throughout sort of like history, literature, and so on and so forth have actually listened to most deities or people's sides, because this is a problem with people in general. So, for example, if the story that you know of him is different, i.e., that he had a reason to be distant from, and he's also known for being astray or away from the correct like path, or that has like morally questionable behavior. But that depends on the person that you are. Yeah, you only hear about a lot of things in history, and people in general, they only focus on the bad things. Look at Chinese whispers. Look at drama. Most people only focus on the bad things about people in general instead of the good qualities that they have. So what happens if he was astray for a reason, and the person that was telling him that or explaining that he was astray and his behavior was questionable was because that person was a little bit too like overly strict. Okay, so number 4, which is Lucifer. Similar to some people, but to me not, because I think Lucifer and Satan are two different deities. Now, Lucifer is known as the light bearer, or the light bringer, or the morning star. Now, like most people, if someone sheds light on a subject that someone is scared of, people naturally reject it, right? And this is what I'm trying to put across to people, is this is what you need to stop, because it's getting ridiculous. Just because someone is different to you and they're shedding light on a certain situation or a subject, you can't just reject them because of, I don't know, the color of their skin, what clothes they wear, what music they listen to, and the list goes on. Because people do judge, and they judge harshly. Now, I'm not saying that some of these deities that I have mentioned in this video today have always done things right, because they haven't. But it's the same as me or you. Have you done wrongs in your life? And have you done rights in your life? But why should you be remembered for everything that you've done wrong? Why should people want you to keep remembering your past and reliving your past so you can be put down? To be like restrained, so you're like pinned down all the time. So you naturally think that you're not good enough for anything that is good in life. So then something that seems too good to be true, you'll then automatically reject it because you're only used to the shit things in life. Stop it, really, because you're only hurting yourself. Number 5, which is Mother Earth, or Earth Goddess. Now, this deity is really important to me, and it should be for a lot of other people as well. You know, I love going back to nature. I love taking walks, and I love gardening. I really enjoy it. But I think part and parcel of the problem in the world is, whether you're spiritual or not, you should at least get back to nature, because we have a lot of problems. And yes, I know that certain government officials aren't helping because they just see something as a commodity to turn into money. Everyone, even the people that are in apartments and flats, which I know they do on occasion, get a window box and just sow some seeds. It really isn't difficult. And if you live in an apartment or a flat, and then you go for a walk in nature, you will probably find that you feel a lot better as well. Because being stuck in a concrete building that's so many stories high, yeah, isn't that good? Not at all. Mother Earth or Earth Goddess is very, very kind, loving, and caring, and understanding of that. For argument's sake, um, I don't like mosquitoes or wasps and flies. Just because one, well, you can already imagine why I don't like mosquitoes and wasps. Some of them just don't do anything, and plus that's a fear from when I was younger of like being stung by one. But I just tell them to go out the house or physically remove them by yeah, catching them under a glass or something. But what I'm trying to say is Mother Earth will actually understand that you don't like these things. We'll tell you that it's okay. That if you do need to get one out the way, i.e. squish, it's no problem. But if you're a person who doesn't like cats or dogs, then unfortunately you're a douche. Number 6, which is Mr. Man upstairs. Now hold on. I know most people don't want to hear about it because I know that it is a trigger point for most people, but just give me a second. He has helped me recently because for a lot of years I was like a lot of other people. I was believing in other articles and books and hearsay that people were talking about that this so and so doesn't exist because blah 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 reason. And oh, but this book, it's like so old and yeah, it just explains everything. Like, oh my god. No. So then what I did was I just asked. Because even though a lot of people think that like these deities that I'm talking about today are separate to him, they're not. That's still a deity. That's still a god or a goddess. So they're still within the same. If you connect spiritually, right here to your deity, you can do that with him too. And that's what helped me to hear it from the horse's mouth instead of listening to the lies of man, just so they can clamber on top of each other to be top dog, right? Because that's what it's about with most people is the power. They get addicted to it. Number 7 is Lilith. Now, I haven't worked with this deity. I've known people who have, and I've got a few people on Facebook as well that have worked with this deity. Now, I knew one of Lilith's daughters, but I didn't work with her daughter. Now, again, the same. A lot of people tend to only focus on the bad things in life, which is, oh my god, she's so horrible. Oh my god, this, and oh my god, like she steals infant babies from this and that. Maybe not, because in people's hysteria, what happens? For argument's sake, I'll just try and make this real quick. That she, as someone that had a bit of a morbid sense of humour, like ran into someone's home as a joke. I picked the baby up and just ran outside and then put the baby back down again and ran off. So then the only thing that you'll hear is people going, "Oh my god, she stole my baby!" Your baby's right there. It's lying in the mud right now. Like, your baby's not been stolen, nor has it been killed or harmed in any way, shape, or form. Come on, people. Now I know that she is like strong. She has got a quick fire temper, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she's always bad. So if you're working with her, you already know. Just remember what happened to her before. And don't mention a name, especially one that begins with A, because you're probably going to get your ear chewed off or your ass kicked. But she's not that bad. That's only in, should we say, like the darker aspect of what she was about. And I've seen it on YouTube as well as on Facebook, people who've worked with Lilith, and you can sense like how strong they are compared to before. So they've gotten in touch with their sort of like inner strength, which everyone has, but not everyone realizes it. Now, with most of the deities that I've mentioned today, the reason why people want to work with these deities is to find that inner strength or that inner divine spark that they have, or inner divine goddess or god. That's why people talk to them, to get a different perspective, because they don't want to follow the mainstream religion, and they want to learn from like different perspectives. Is that wrong? No, of course it isn't. Everyone likes. I like to step out of my own comfort zone and learn something new, and talk to different people instead of just staying in the same collective, hearing the same thing all the time. It's nuts. On to the second part, entities. Number one is guardian angel, guardian spirits, whichever you want to know, whatever your terminology is. Obviously, it does exactly what it says on the tin. They're there to help you. They're there to help you and to warn you of possible dangers, so on and so forth. Number two, spirit guides are different. They're there just to guide you. They're not there to protect you. Um, they're there to guide you for information, to either tell you something, or to show you something. It just depends. Number three, incubus, which is the male entity. Now we all know what that is. That is a sexual entity that most people perceive to be bad because it wants to steal your life force. Not true. What happens is when an incubus will, depending on the incubus, whether they are completely and utterly like dark to the point where their mind is clouded, and then they'll probably ask you to give up your life force, which then you're just going to reply, no, hell no, I'm not going to do that. But the lighter aspect will actually help protect you, as well as show you how to love someone like truly, as well as to love them in that way, to pleasure them as well. Now, if you do get an entity that is like that and isn't completely and utterly dark, that's a lighter aspect. So what will happen is when you're intimate with like an incubus, and it's is they will take what's left over of your sexual energy. So they won't zap you. What will happen is they'll just take what's left over. So it's the same as you having a shitload of food and not sharing it to anyone, and then eventually that food will rot, right? So then you can't eat it. But obviously with energy it's different because it's replenished all the time. But they'll take what they need and not zap. So don't be frightened. However, if you do have one in the dark aspect that's asking you, I want your life force, say, hell no, motherfucker, go away. Now I know that you should be polite because I did say this like in the deity one, but if someone is like being that retarded, a deity or a person that is asking you to do something like generally morally wrong, no. Number four, which is succubus, which is the female side. Yeah, they do the same thing as an incubus. However, because most people seem to think that most succubuses are actually associated with Lilith, they think that they're all going to be horrible and so on and so forth. Same what I said in the incubus bit. But it's not true. You have people that are associated because they want to be associated with Lilith. But then you have the ones that are separate, that don't have anything to do with her, that want to go their own path, that want to prove to themselves and other people that they're not as evil as perceived. Right? You with me? Because I'll explain something to you. Um, on my wardrobe back home uh, in England, I've got a statue that is of what would be perceived or maybe seen as a succubus. Now, most people are like, "Oh my god, that's like weird and horrible and ugh." It's not actually that. Now, the entity that's actually within the statue itself is actually really kind and does watch over people as well as when I was there. It used to watch over me at night. And when I say watch over, I don't mean sit on my chest like all like creepy and shit. I mean just literally watch over me, like guard me overnight. That's it. Some of them are just that simple that they want to prove to you that they're not like that they're not like that horrible of the stories that you hear and what I've heard of. Oh yeah, a succubus is going to have sex with you, then it's going to slit your throat. No, there's a difference here, right? A succubus will just have sex with you and won't kill you, right? Someone who pretends to be a succubus, who might be a negative entity or something a bit darker, who associates blood play or killing people with sex as fun, they have it. Completely different. They're not the same. Because most dark entities, but I'm going to say it because most people probably won't get it, but they will. Okay, most dark entities and demons are normally like sexual. However, succubi are specialized in that field. Now, what I mean by what I've just said is a normal succubi won't necessarily want to kill you. Depends on whether you've pissed her off. If you haven't, she'll just have sex with you. Then you've got the demon, the bog standard demon that pretends to be that. They will probably find killing people and seeing blood as a sexual thing, so they're getting mixed up. That is what I mean. Two completely different entities altogether. So please don't get blurred lines and think that one is within the same, because it's really not. Just trust me on this. Number 5 is dragons. Now, spiritually, I actually have my own dragon. I didn't know this for, I don't know. I didn't know it for like a few years, and then I found out, and yeah. Um, again, like most deities, they do have the same qualities as entities. I.e., my dragon is old, but not that old. But she is a bit grumpy, but she's also, again, kind, loving, caring. You name it. She can be patient, not really patient, but you can bet your sweet ass she's gonna have a go at me because I made her wait for so long. Now again, you have the different sides of dragons. You have the ones that are completely evil, that can't think for themselves, or that they're being controlled by someone else. Then you have the other ones that do have free will and don't have a master, and so on and so forth. When I go or I find out that I have a dragon, I will explain to them, and I would advise you to do this as well if you actually want to keep that dragon around and not have a slave. I am not your master, nor does anyone else have that right over you, because they do have free will. However, they are willing to give that up sometimes, depending on the dragon. So then you have to reiterate to them that you do have free will. I am not your master and you are not my slave. You can come and go as you please. However, if I need your help and I am in trouble, as in I mean like really bad spiritual trouble, and I call you, please be there for me, because I might walk into, I don't know, into like, I don't know, some thorn bushes or something. Read between the lines, and I'm going to need you to save me, so on and so forth. And that's okay, because that's on a level. It's the same as people. If you treat people with respect, and like, the energy just flows a lot better if you're nicer to people, depending on the person. But overall, it's better. Okay, just to recap. Um, Again, most people who work with deities or entities will want to stem away from like the mainstream religions and so on and so forth, because they want to learn from different perspectives. Because if you remember, everyone has as much free will as what you or me. Everyone has it. Even deities or entities, contrary to most belief, everyone has free will. Take in mind that most deities won't actually come to you. You will have to go to them to prove to them that you do have free will, to take the first step. Now, on a rare occasion, they will come to you if they see you as someone that they can teach, and you will take that knowledge on and maybe also teach other people. Or that they just see you as worthy, because deities and entities, they do watch you. So if you're doing spiritual work, you will have a deity that will watch you, or an entity that will watch you. They will just keep tabs. Be like, oh, this person's really good. They're really good at what they do. But now, when it comes to entities, they are completely different altogether. Entities can make their way to you of their own free will, as in they can turn up at any time. Please remember, if an entity does make its way to you or turn up, just take in mind what I've said. Just be very careful, because you don't know who it is that you're dealing with. Now, I know a lot of people say that, and a lot of it is true, that some darker entities will masquerade as light, and some of them may try and trick you. However, in the other aspect, or in the lighter aspect, sometimes they will make themselves a bit lighter, because their true form might actually scare you, and you will probably have a mental breakdown. So that's why they do it, is just so you relax a little bit around them, so they can then, if they have knowledge for you, to pass it on. If you focus on a certain entity, you can attract them by just focusing on that entity, because it's a way of you changing your energy. So then it's like, okay, here I am already now. So if you do focus on an entity and that entity turns up, and you reject them because you're overly scared, but that entity isn't actually that dark, then that's on you. Take in mind that entities and deities do have feelings, and they more than likely will take it a little bit. They will take it on the chin, but they won't like it. And depending on what you say and what you do, you might have to answer for your actions at some point during your course of your life, or your spiritual path. You will have to answer for your actions. When people are doing rituals, all they're doing is clearing the negative energy around the area, or the dirty energy, to make it positive, or for a clearer connection. So it's like, if I was to ring my friend and I was in a bad cell phone reception area, he would ask me to move to a better area. It's just like that. Not all rituals are done to call up, I don't know, some dark entity from the depth of hell and Some rituals are also not to do with to keep man pinned down, that's working against humanity and so on and so forth. That might be a little bit true depending on the entity or the deity that someone is calling up. But again, everyone has free will. Not everyone will see it as a lighter aspect. But just because it's got ritual on it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, because it really isn't. It depends on your intention and your actions as well. Right now, just a quick disclaimer, just a quick one. So remember, when you're working with deities and entities, please, please, please remember that you need to be respectful, because they've been around a lot longer than you have. As well as, don't take everything at face value, because some may try and get you to sort of like stem away from your path. You need to remember who you are and the reason why you started spiritualism and the path that you want to take, because they will test you from time to time to see whether you are worthy of any information at all. Right, that's it, folks. That's me done for the day. In my next video, I will be talking more about what it's like for everyone to accept each other and what it would be like if people from the light side and the dark side do actually talk to each other a bit better. So there's none of these like for example, so there's none of these silly little comments like y'all motherfuckers need Jesus, okay, well y'all motherfuckers need Satan. Even though that's quite funny. But yeah, and I know it does take sort of more of a like a negative um like a negative spin. Um but come on, you don't always need to be horrible towards people. You can. You can actually go up to someone and talk to them and just be nice. This is Guardian of Light, signing out for now. Have an awesome day.